What's up, friends? This is Manni, and the Star Citizen 4.3.1 update is now live at this very moment. I've already downloaded it right here, and I'm about to jump into the game to find out the new Onyx missions to make the early tutorials for you guys to know what to do in there, okay? So stay tuned on the channel, subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and be there when the videos go live. But the 4.3 summary goes as followed. We have a highly focused around resource drive event, ship escort missions, flight tuning, and Vikelo recipe updates. All right, that's the new live server with a meshing of 73600 on the shards, and yeah, the long-term persistence is enabled. Now, features in gameplay, we have the Onyx Facility expansion. The Onyx Facility used to new investigation missions from the 4.30 have been expanded to include additional mission content and sandbox gameplay elements. These are made available after completing the original Hawkrow Agency investigation missions, which I should already have completed, and many of you do too, and will task the player with uncovering more of the story surrounding Dr. Joret's shady practices at the Onyx facilities. Players can work together to overcome these new puzzles, obstacles, and combat encounters, and delve deep into the depths of the newly uncovered secret part of the facilities. Alright, then we have the Medgale and medical respawn gameplay. Like you guys probably already know, there's now a Medgale resource that you can buy in the medical stores or hospitals and carry around in your backpack and store on the ship, put it in the beds to fill them back up. Each Medgale container still costs 100,000 Alpha UEC and will contain 200 units, which is enough for 2 respawns, okay? And a tier 3 bed can store 200 and already stores 200 when you bring the ship, so you got this for free at the start. And as you respawn, that decreases. A tier 2 bed can fit 400, so 4 revives, and a tier 1 can do 600 capacity with 6 revives. So if you have multiple tier 1 beds, for instance, you have a whole lot of possible respawns. Respawning and healing their injuries will also use the Medgale, and a tier 3 injury will be 5, a tier 2 injury will cost 10 Medgale, and a tier 1 injury costs 20 Medgale. And it's important, no matter how many injuries you have, only the highest level injury, which tier 1 would be, counts and which needs to be paid. Also, the respawn distances in the tier category of beds has been changed. Tier 3 beds, the lowest category, for instance, in a Medic Orza rover or in a in a Pisces rescue, they will only have a 50 kilometers range on your respawn. If you're too far away from that, boom, you respawn in your home location. The tier 2 beds, for example, on a Terrapin Medic has 8,000 kilometers range, so it's a lot more, but it's still not unlimited. And the tier 1 beds, for example, on the new Apollo ships, they have 750,000 kilometers. That equals 750 megameters. Not quite 1 gigameter, okay? Which you can see here, 1 gigameter would be 1 million kilometers. But we are at 750,000 with the tier 1 bed. So it is a long distance. It is within one star system, for instance, the Hurston area, right? With all the moons and stuff. Yeah, you should be careful. It's not even 1 GM. Okay, so dropships and watchtowers on Pyro. So the bases have various watchtowers, and now when you deplete like the population by killing them, then at some point they will trigger spawning dropships. They land, they have new reinforcement fan out, they belong to the same faction, and they will look for hostiles, in this case probably you. And if you want them to stop spawning in, you have to climb up those watchtowers and deactivate this reinforcement beacon or whatever terminal that's there. And there are also missions added to the game that will make you do that. They will give you the task you to go and deactivate those terminals to stop reinforcement. We have big changes for the armor and ballistic systems past what I've already told you about. First off, the first thing you already know is when you follow the channel at least, is that ballistic armor reduction has been changed, okay? So the damage was previously 50%, on armor. Now it's only 38% that the armor basically absorbs. So you do a lot more damage to the enemy ship when the shields are gone. However, and that's the thing that you will not know if you followed my content here on the channel, they also changed the shields again. Okay? They had it, and previously 70% projectile damage made it through the shield, 30% were stopped by the shield. Then they set it to 20% stopped by the shield, so 80% made it through. And we thought, yay, that together with the armor means massive buff for ballistics. However, now they changed this part again. Now, 45% is going to be blocked by the shield. So only 55% of your projectile weapon damage makes it through the shield and hits the armor that then again has a 38% armor damage reduction, okay? So what this means is the shields will live a lot shorter when you fire at them with ballistic weapons, so you drain more of the shielding while shooting them, because more damage is being blocked by the ballistic weapons. But altogether, it makes your ballistic weapons a lot less useful against shielded enemies, and what it also means is you'll probably want to incorporate some energy weapons into your ballistic weapon loadout, which has always been a good opportunity or a good thing, because your energy weapons will have maximum energy capacity available to their power of their, ammo capacity, and meanwhile, the ballistic weapons are going to shred pretty well once they go through the energy shielding with the new changes here. Full energy weapons loadouts will still be super viable, and there is no need to spread it with ballistics, but if you want to run ballistics, it's probably a good idea to put a couple of energy weapons in there. Very often, pairing it with ballistic means attrition weapons, because they often can be aligned to have a similar speed. But it could be also something different, alright? But just be creative and keep that in mind. We have Gladius flight changes. The reason Gladius is listed here by itself is because the Gladius is in gold standard. It's basically the ship, how it's supposed to be completely finished in the finished product of Star Citizen. It's like one of the only ships that has that. Is it the only ship? But so they are changing the flight model of the Gladius again, making it increased acceleration from 13 Gs to 13.6, and the angular acceleration is also improved for more responsiveness around flying that thing. Missile damage radius adjustments from size 1 to size 7 missile/torps are affected by minimum and maximum range changes. Size 1, 1 meter minimum, 2 meter maximum explosion radius. Size 2 has 1.5 and 2.5, then 3, 2.5, 3.5. Size 4 is 2.5 and 5 meters, and I believe size 5 already means torpedo with 3.5 and 5. I don't think there is a size 5 missile, it's already torpedoes at this point, right? Correct me if I do say something wrong, though. And size 7 torps will be 4.5 meters and 7 meters in maximum explosion meters. And then also the proximity explosion fuse has been changed to set to 0.5 meters for missiles and torpedoes of all sizes. I still honestly do not exactly know what this part means. If somebody knows exactly how to describe this, please do that in the comments, okay? It sounds like it will trigger the explosion when it gets 0.5 meters close to whatever it's trying to hit. I don't know, please explain. Additional ship and vehicle updates. The Idris medical bed has been changed to tier 2 rather than tier 1, which it was supposedly unintentionally. Okay, maybe... Well, I don't know, but it's always a problem if you sell a ship like this and then you nerf it later, right? It has a bad taste. Maybe I can understand it though, because maybe they want to go and give the actual tier 1 beds only to dedicated medical ships, right? And real hospital ships. Maybe this is what's going on, and I could understand that. The Idris is a military vessel, it's not a dedicated hospital ship or a medical ship. And tier 2 is still pretty good. However, it is a nerf for the Idris. The LMG Fresnel, the Volt LMG, is now in the game. It can carry size 3 optics, and very special, crouching and proning will change its recoil. Similar to Escape from Tarkov, where if you've played the game, many people, they will encounter you, and they, boom, throw themselves on the ground and immediately fire with very little recoil. Because laying, you can control it better. And that's similar with the LMG, although I doubt that you can throw yourself in there very quickly and immediately open fire like this. So be aware, crouching and laying actually does make sense in the game now. Previously in my FPS guide, where I've made you a video where me as a pro FPS player for all my life has told you never ever sit or lay. It is not worth it. You're just too easy to be hit and you're not really gaining any advantages. Now you're actually beginning to gain the first advantages from laying and crouching. I still wouldn't recommend it though. It's much more important to be on the move and hard to hit. But yeah, LMG stats. The Volt LMG max and weapons are much heavier than the normal ones, 150% heavier compared to an FS9 mag, which has already been very heavy, okay? And the Volt LMG has two different fire modes, the full auto and like one with a higher shot damage and less fire rate. The damage is 6.85 in the full auto and the 54.8 in the more stronger shot. The projectile velocity speed is 110, I guess, meters per second, although that would be so slow. I mean, a freaking AK has like 700 or 850 meters per second muzzle velocity. This here would be 110. Aren't those future weapons? I don't know. Is it not meters per second? What is it then? Aim down sights time is 0.43, so much longer than regular weapons that we have in the game. RPM is 550 in auto and 82.5 in the other firing mode. And the max size is 165. Recoil is stance sensitive, as they say. Additional updates added FPS weapons to Lorvale, Manni, and Sun's shop, and also updated medium rifles aiming sway to make them feel more heavy. And let us know how you think about this before we pass it on to light and heavy weapons, they're asking. Reduced parallax NV tac, branded scopes making them bounce less when firing. So that's the info. That's all the changes that are coming in, I guess most of them. And be sure, I'm gonna log into the game and work on the guide for the Onyx facilities now. Yeah, catch you in the next video, my friends. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Manni signing off, and have fun in 4.3.1.